Whether you're a professional interior design specialist that has been working in the field for decades, or you're just a perfectly average citizen who knows their way around a Farrow & Ball paint store, sometimes you just know if a room looks good or not. And there can be a wide array of reasons why this is true. In today's video, I'm going to share with you an aspect of interior design that not a lot of people are necessarily aware of, but have probably felt subconsciously. Sometimes you just have that gut feeling, right? Every situation is of course different, but I think there is a rule with interior design that is pretty important when it comes to putting together an interesting space. And it doesn't even have a lot to do with paint color. Now I know we are the paint people, but in addition to being the most awesome painting and decorating channel on the interwebs, we also like to dabble with design, more specifically interior design. And that's what today's rule is directly related to. Press like for rules, I guess. For all my fellow Paint People subscribers watching, I'm also a subscriber because I'm subscribed on my other account. Big brain move to get a bonus subscriber. Anyway, you might have heard me talk about the 60-30-10 rule, which is about design, but it's more specifically about color. Essentially, you want to aim for a 60-30-10 ratio of colors, with kind of a main color, a secondary color, and then an accent color for that last 10%. That's not what today's video is about though. Hold your horses. Today's rule also is a number that adds up to 100, but instead of 60-30-10, we have the 80-20 rule. Before we begin, I am a believer that rules, they're made to be broken when it comes to design. And it's extremely important to be as self-expressive as possible when you're putting your palettes together. But I also believe that it's imperative to at least know about these rules before you even dare to break them. It's just going to help you feel even more confident with your process and will allow you to feel more intentional and deliberate about any adjustments or changes you make. I'm sure most of us are familiar with interior design styles that exist. You may not know all of them, but we can all agree that there are different styles that exist, like traditional, mid-century modern, or bohemian. If you're not completely aware of these, be sure to check out our quick 9 interior design style roundup video we put out to give you a bit of a refresher. But assuming you're basing your design off of one of these design styles, how heavily should you incorporate it in order to be representing that style? Is there some sort of percentage threshold you have to ideally hit before you can qualify it? What if your room feels pretty generic, but you have a couple of modern pieces? Is that enough? Are you officially rocking a transitional design at 51%? Well, I interpret the 80-20 rule in 2 separate ways that are very closely related. You should aim for 80% of your interior design style to be one particular style. That doesn't mean you need to cover literally 80% of the visible space with bohemian styled components. It just means that 80% of your design should represent a specific style. Now, the more interesting part of this rule is that remaining 20 that's left over. That represents a second interior design style working in conjunction. The 80-20 rule is all about mixing design styles together, which is something that not many people think to do, at least intentionally. It's not silly to think that maybe you want to blend styles together because you gravitate towards more than one. Or maybe a specific space in your home caters to something a little bit different, causing you to go into a slightly different direction. The important takeaway of this rule is the proportion, or the ratio itself. If you're mixing design styles together, it's usually good to have a clear dominant style taking up at least 80%, and then that accent design style, which is that 20%. Maybe you have a fairly minimal Scandi design incorporating a healthy amount of white, warm woods, and rattan. But to break things up, you layer a couple of colorful rugs in front of the couch for a little bit of boho. This accomplishes 2 things. First, you have that guideline that prevents your 2 designs from feeling muddled and disorganized, but you also allow one style to be the baseline and the other to feel a little more special, being the accent. It'll draw a bit more attention without needing to envelop the space with that boho secondary design you've implemented. The possibilities and the combinations are endless with what you can do. I'll see people take their 80% design style, have it throughout their home, and then have a different style as their 20% in different rooms, because you can have a little bit of modern in one room and then a little bit of coastal in another. Which interior design style would be your 80 and which one would be your 20? I'd love to hear about it. If you want our quick roundup of 9 interior design styles so you can start combining them all together, here's a video where we talked all about them, so clickety clicky clicks.